Okay, so let us start the topic array string. भव्य भाई माइक बंद करो. Okay, so basically up to this point we have discussed about constant variable data types and looping structure and control structure. Now we move towards to the array and string. So what we will discuss in this lecture, that is a array. So how to define array, what is the need of array, which are the features of array, how to declare the array, how to initialize the array, accessing the array element and types of array. And in case of a string, define string, declaration of string, initialization of a string and built-in string function. So let's start with a define array. So now what is define or how can we define the array? Array is a collection of a fixed number of values of a string type. For example, if you want to store 100 integers in a sequence, you can create an array for it. Type, array name and array size. So your data type is integer, name of array, that is a data, and the size of array, that is 100. That means it may hold element 100 elements, right? And index may start with 0 to 99. Okay, so 0 to 99, that is 100. All arrays consist of a continuous memory allocation. The lowest address correspond to the first element and highest address to the last element. Now basically how we can or why we are thinking about array, because before defining an array we need to understand the concept, that is why we are thinking about array. Then I can simply give you one example. Suppose I would like to I would like to store the marks of student, right? And suppose I am deciding that, as per the previous example, suppose we are deciding that there are 3 subjects per student, then at least we should have a 3 variable for storing the marks of one student, right? Instead, suppose we create an array of marks, we are able to store the marks of student, right? So basically this is nothing but groupism of one item and stored in a single or continuous memory location, right? So all array consists of a continuous memory location. The lowest address correspond to the first element and the highest address is the last element. So its array index is always start with a 0, like here 100, so 0 to 99, 0, 1, 2, 3, and each element may be accessible using a big bracket, right? Number is the name of array and big bracket and 3, so it allows us to access the fourth element of array, 0, 1, 2 and 3. Now what is the need of array? So we can use a normal variable v1, v2, v3 when we have small number of objects, but so when we use normal number variable v1, v2, v3 when we have small number of objects but we want to store a large number of instances, it becomes difficult to manage them with the normal variables. The idea of the array is to represent many instances in one variable. So here this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So total there are 9 elements available and the indices of array is 0 to 8. So array length is 9, first index is always 0 and last index is a total minus 1, that is 8. Okay, and which are the features of array? So an array is derived data type. So as we have discussed the same in case of a whenever we have discussed about data type, variable and constant, on that time we have discussed about derived data type or primary data type or user defined data type, right? So primary data type, that is a integer, void, character and etc. Now derived data type, that is derived from the primary data type. So array is a type of derived data type, right? It is used to represent a collection of elements of the same data type, right? So this is important thing, same data type, collection of element of same data type, that you need to understand, because if we change this word from same to different, now this is not array, this is something else. It may be a structure, it may be a class, it may be a union or like that, right? Class is again not part of a C, it's part of a C++. The element can be accessed with a base address, index and the subscript defined for the position of the element. The element in the array are stored in a continuous memory location. Okay. It is easier to refer the array elements by simply incrementing the value of the subscript. Of course, because subscript is nothing but indices of the array, and that is the integer value. So once we increment it, and with the help of that variable, we are able to access the particular array element. So that is the features. Then declaration of array. So to declare an array in a C program, a programmer specifies the type of elements and the number of elements required by the array as follows. So again, declaration, that is a type, array name and array size. This is called a single dimensional array, right? Still types of arrays pending, we will discuss after some slides, but this is called a single dimensional array. The array size must be an integer constant greater than 0, right? This is the condition. Like we cannot create array with a minus or negative sign, like here the example is double balance 10, so we cannot write double balance minus 10, that is invalid, right? Size in negative form, that is not possible. It must be positive number and must be greater than 0. Okay, so greater than 0, and type can be any valid C data type, right? Any valid C data type. That shows that again we are not bounded with primary data type only, we are bounded with any kind of data types supported by the C language, like type, then integer, character, float, double, long integer, or even structure. We can create array of structure also, we can create array of union also, we can create array of we can say that class also, class object also basically, right? So for example, the declare 10 elements array called balance of the type double. Use this statement double, balance and 10. Here the balance variable is array which is sufficient to hold up to 10 double numbers, right? So as we have discussed before few slides also, that is how to declare or define an array. It is the same. This is the actual declaration that's points towards to the we can say that syntax, right? That you need to remember, because whenever you are thinking about array and you would like to define an array, you need to work with this syntax only. Okay, now declaration of array. Here array declaration in a C. So suppose we declare the array of type integer with a of 3, it may allows us to store 3 variable value, right? So, and that is of type integer only. So 1, 2 and 3, and thus it's stored in a continuous memory. That means one after second after third, that is in continuous form. Now suppose we define integer a of 3 and we set the value 2 at the time of initialization 1, 2, 3. At the time of declaration, suppose we initialize the value of an array, then 1, 2, 3 will be automatically set for individual element. A of 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, right? We will see initialization portion also. A of 3 and blank 0, 0, 0. So by default, suppose we set this, it may automatically understand that yes, all the elements should be set with a 0. Suppose we explicitly says that yes, set the first value. See, this 0 says that set the first value is 0. What about other one? That is 0. We says that sets the first element is 1. That means other one 0. Right? Then a of 3, 0, 1 and 3. So 3, 3 and 0. We said that index start with 0 to 1, that is 3, dot 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 1 and 3, and other will automatically start with a 0. Now here we are not passing the size of array, right? But this is only allowed if we initialize the array at the time of a declaration. Like suppose we write integer a of blank, and then after in the next line suppose we are trying to access the a, it will not allows us to access the a because there is nothing inside this array a. In that case we need to allocate the memory for that, like e and malloc, calloc, realloc. We will see later on in a later chapter basically. So basically this is the declaration of array. Now array declaration by the specifying the size. So array declaration by specifying size integer array 1 and 10. With recent C and C++ version, we can also declare an array for user specific size, like integer n equal to 10 and array 2 equal to n. See, please be remember, this is with recent C++ version. Right now we are talking about NCC, and it will not allows us to work like that. We cannot pass variable as a size of array, right? But as it's allowed in a latest one, so I'll show you over here. Array declaration by initialization and elements. Array declaration by initialization elements, integer array 10, 20, 30 and 40. Compiler creates an array of size 4, right? Automatically it may understand that yes, what is the size of this array, then it's a 4 because there are 4 elements, and for storing this 4 element the size of array should be a of 4, array of 4, right? So above is the same, like integer array of 4 is equal to this. These two are same because in this case we explicitly says that the size of array is 4, and in this case dynamically it may detect that yes, the size of array is 4. Okay. Then array declaration by specifying the size and initialization elements. We already see certain example, but right now again we see the same. So here by using this statement, don't think about this right now, but by using this statement, integer array of 6, with the help of this statement it may create a memory location for array 6, right? And it may allows us to store the 6 element at a time. Fine. And the index may start with 0 to 5. Okay, this is the index, and yes, it may create a continuous block. See, one more thing, don't confuse with a horizontal or vertical block. This is continuous block, right? That is the work of a memory. It should allows us to store the 6 element, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Once we use this statement up to this, right, it is done like that. And another thing is, all these element may have certain garbage value also. So if we are not using these things, that means there might be something else inside this block. After this, suppose we execute this one, like equal to 10, 20, 30 and 40. Yes, 10, so must be stored as a first element, right? 20, 30, 40, and what about this? So of course, once we initialize initial 4, that means remaining 2 may automatically set with 0. So compiler creates an array of size 6, initialize first, 4 elements are specified by the user and rest of 2 elements as 0. Above is the same as this, right? Now in this case we explicitly pass this 2, only in that case it will create an array of 6 size, otherwise it may create array of 4 size 4 because there are 4 values only. Now initialization of array. So you can initialize an array in a C either 1 by 1 or using a single statement as follow. Basically, there are two ways to initialize the array. First, that is a compile time initialization, and second, that is a runtime initialization. Now, what do you mean by compile time initialization? So, at the time of declaration of array, suppose we initialize the array, that is known as a compile time initialization, like this. This is compile time initialization. And same way, at the time of program execution, suppose the value of suppose the element of array is going to be initialized, then that is known as a runtime initialization. So you can initialize an array in a C either one by one or using a single statement as follow: double balance of 5, then 1000, 2, 3.4, 7.0, 50.0. See, this is the type double, so we can put floating value, that is possible. The number of values between the braces cannot be larger than the number of elements that we can declare for the array between a square bracket, right? Suppose we are passing over here 5, that means we can pass 5 values only. Suppose we pass a 6, it will not allow us, or that's wrong basically. If you omit the size of array, the array is just big enough to hold the initialize the created. Therefore, if you write this one, automatically it may initialize. So both the ways are correct, and both are, these two are known as a compile time initialization, because at the time of declaration we initialize the array. So compile time initialization. Here we have an array named marks, right? This one marks with this value. So marks of 0, that is the 19, marks of 1, that is the 10, marks of 2 is 8, marks of 3 is 17, marks of 4 is 9. So it may store like that: 19, 10, 8, 17 and 9. Accessing array elements. So yes, one more thing, what is runtime initialization over here? Then runtime initialization means once we define integer right marks with the size 5, then runtime means after this declaration we may access individual element of array, right? Runtime as a variable, like suppose consider marks is a variable, then we can access it individual element, like marks of 0, that is, this is one variable and that is equal to 10, right? Same way marks of 1, that is equal to 20 or 30 or 50, like that. So this is known as a runtime initialization. Now accessing an array element. So an element is accessed by indexing the array name. This is done by placing the index of element within a square bracket after the name of the array. For example, double salary is equal to balance of 9. The above statement will take the 10th element from the from the array, and assign the value of a value to the salary variable. The following example shows how to use all the three above mentioned concept, is declaration, assignment, and the accessing arrays, right? So here one thing, that is balance. This is one of the array basically, and we are trying to access the 10th element, as the index is 9, so 0 to 9, so it's the 10th element, and we try to use the value of that and assign it to the salary. So this is how we can accessing the array element. And same way, suppose we would like to set the value of a balance also, then it should be on the left hand side of a assignment operator, and then after we can use any kind of equation or any kind of variable or direct constant value too. These all things are possible with C concept. Okay, so this is the small piece of a code where we are discussing integer n of 10. So n is the array of a 10 integer ij initialize the element of an array and to 0. So I equal to 0, I is less than 10, I plus plus. and n of I. So what is n of I? Initially it's n of 0 is equal to 0 plus 100, right? Initialize element of array n. Okay, actually it will initialize the array of n to not 100, it is starting with 100 to 109. So fine, it will initialize 100, then set the element at the location I is equal to I plus 100. Okay, then next that is a I plus plus. So now n of 1, that is equal to 1 plus 100, so that is a 101. Then we can say that 2 plus 100, 102, 3 plus 100, 103, 4 plus 100, 104, 5 plus 100, 105, and same way I will be incremented up to 9, and 9 plus 100, so n of 9 is equal to 9 plus 100, and that is a 109. And after initializing it, this is runtime initialization, right? Because we are not initializing the array at the time of a declaration. So runtime initialization, and then after we are going to print it only, that is element of uh, percentage %d and j, that is a 0. So element of 0 is equal to n of j, that is a percentage, sorry, n of 0, so that is 100, 101 to 109. Fine. Now, so these all things are just the basics of array. What is the array? That is a sequential collection of same data type, that is known as an array. Simple definition of array. Need, initialization, features, and declaration is fine. Accessing is also fine. Now, types of array. So there are basically three types of array available in a C language. It may start with one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array, and multi-dimensional array. Now, what is one-dimensional array? So it may allows us to work with a single script or single dimension only, right? The collection of a data types can be stored under a variable name using only one subscript. Same definition, same, we can say that a syntax also, data type, array variable name, and size, because whatever we have discussed up till now, that is with reference to the one dimensional array only. Single subscripted array or one dimensional array, both are same, right? What is data type? Specify the type of element that will be contained in array, such as integer, character, float, etc. What is size? Indicate the maximum number of elements that can be stored inside the array. What is two-dimensional array? An array of arrays. This is an array of arrays. This is known as a two-dimensional, 2D. The two-dimensional 2D array in a C programming is also known as a matrix. You might learn matrix in your mathematics, right? So it may allows us to work with the matrix in this array. So in a matrix can be represented as a table of a rows and a columns. Before we discuss more about two-dimensional array, let's have a look at following C program. There are two ways to initialize the two-dimensional array using a declaration. So because basically there are two methods of initialization. One is the compile time and another is the runtime. Runtime is easy because runtime, that is, initialize individual element, initialize all the elements using a looping structure, or initialize individual element as a itself a variable, right? That is still there. But suppose compile time, and suppose this is a two-dimensional array, then we have a two choice. One, that is integer. This is the name of array. Is 2 by 4 is array, that means 2 row and 4 column. This is a row, always first index is row, and this is column. Okay, 2 row 4 column means each row may have a 4 column. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, this is the value for that. 14, 15, 16 and 17. Now instead of this, suppose we initialize this array with continuous 8 values, it may automatically understand that yes, this is the value for first row and this is the value for second row. Suppose the array is for 3 by 4, and suppose we pass the 12 value, again it may understand that yes, remaining we can say that remaining 4, will be assigned to the third row. Suppose we work with 3 by 4, or suppose in this case 2 by 4, and suppose we pass the value up to the 15 only, then this true value will be initialized with 0 automatically, right? So this is how it will work. So let's see again in detail valid declaration. So in integer ABC 2 by 2, that is 1 2 3 4. Valid declaration, that is integer uh, there is no size for row and just two columns are there, so it may understand that is yes 1 2, that means row number 1, and this is row number 2, 1 2 and 3 4, right? What is invalid? So invalid declaration, you must specify the second dimension. We cannot pass both of these two are blank, because it may possible that this is why or we can say that what is the reason that we need to pass the second dimension at least. The reason is only it may be a single dimensional array 1 2 3 4. It may be a 1 Zem 4 array, 1 row and 4 column, that is also possible. It may be 2 by 2 array, right? So it may be we can say that 3 by 3 array also. Like in case of a 3, you might think that yes, there are only 4 elements, so what are the others? So yes, 3, then second row 4, and remaining are assigned with a 0. So that is why this is invalid declaration. Same way invalid declaration, because the same reason mentioned above, that is the second dimension is always required. We can skip the first dimension, we cannot skip the second one. Here again the reason is again what about the remaining one? Like two rows are there, but each row should have how many number of columns available, that need to be defined. Okay. Yes, two-dimensional array. Storage of the user input data into the 2D array, right? So this is the example of that, like first subscript and second subscript, a of 0 0. So this is row number 0, we can say that yes, this is row number 0, this is 1, this is 2, 3 and 4. This one is 0 1 2 and 3, right? So as we know that how many rows are there? Integer ABC 5 rows, so 0 to 4, that means 5 rows, and 4, so 0 to 3, that means 4 column, right? So now each element may be accessed with their index. So a of 0 0, this is 0 and 0, a of 0 0, ABC 0 0, ABC 0 1, 0 2, 0 3. Same way, suppose we are accessing this one, then this is row number 3 and column number 2, so ABC 3 2, like that. So we can calculate how many elements a two-dimensional array can have by using this formula. The array ARR n1 n2 can have n1 cross n2 elements. So 5 cross 4, 5 4s are 20, right? So it may holds 20 elements. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, okay, 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20, right? So the array that we have in example below is having the dimension 5 and 4. These dimensions are known as subscript. So this array has first subscript value as 5 and second subscript value as 4. So the array ABC 5 4 can have 5 4s are 20 elements, right? Now let's see one short example with two-dimensional array also. Here we have taken display as the array element with 2 rows and 3 columns. So it's a 2D declaration. Then after we are using two counter variables I and j for looping purpose. We start the loop I equal to 0, I is less than 2. Why 2? Because we are using I for row purpose and the maximum size of a row is 2, so 0 to 2, and it's a 3, so j is starting with a 0 to 3. Print, enter the value for disk, as this is the name of array, this is the string only, so disk %d, that is I and j only. So ultimately it will print like enter the value of a disk 0 0, right? And we use the scanf statement, that is scanf %d ampersand disk p of I j. So it will scan the value for disk p of I j, that is a 0 0, and store it into the array. So with the help of this loop, basically we are able to scan the value for array disk runtime, right? Then after we simply print this statement, two-dimensional array elements, right? And here again for printing purpose we are using the loop, that is for I equal to 0, I is less than 2, I plus plus, j equal to 0, j is less than 3, j plus plus, %d, disk of ij. See, up to this point it's fine, but we are using this whenever the value of j is equal to 2, on that time print \n. The reason is we know that there are two rows, right? It should be j equal to 2, that means we are on a column number 3, right? 0 to 2, so column number 3. Once we reach to this, after printing this, it may execute it and go for the next line. Instead we can write the same after completion of this for loop, and like after completion of this for loop we can use this printf directly and print the new line. So this is how we can work with a two-dimensional array, and like we can initialize it and we can print the value, and suppose we would like to manipulate the data of that array, then that maybe work between these two. The third type of a array, that is a multi-dimensional array. C allows array to more dimension, called multi-dimensional array. The general form of a multi-dimensional array is a type, array name. The syntax will remain same. There is no change at all. Like suppose single dimensional, again type, array name, and first size. Two dimension, two size. Now multi-dimensional, so S1, S2, S3 up to Sn, multi-dimensional size, where S is the size of the dimension, integer survey 352, float table 5453. Now don't get confused, like in case of a two-dimensional we can say that yes, first size is a row, second size is a column. Now this is first size is row, second size is a column, third size is a width, so that is also possible. But in this case fourth, so we cannot understand each and every, like we cannot give the name of a dimension, but we can say that yes, this shows that suppose we are talking about this 3 dimension, then it shows that we have a 3 record having 5 by 2 matrix. So each size may have 5 by 2. Now for 5 rows and 2 columns. So let's see in detail. You can say that this is just theoretical right now, and whenever we are performing the practical, on that time we will see one of the example of this, like how actually survey of this array will work. Or suppose we are dealing with a 4-dimensional, then how this will work, because this we cannot remember or we cannot give the name of every size. So let's move towards to the another topic, that is a string. Now what is string? Then this is again array, but array with of character, that is a string. So string are defined as array of a character. The difference between the character array and the string is the string is terminated with the special character \n. That you need to remember, because in case of a C language we don't have such a data type named string, but we can use it using a character array. But suppose we are saying that like here character array and string both are differentiated with the help of a terminated symbol of a string. Okay, so string are actually one-dimensional array of a character terminated by the null character. Thus, the null terminated string contains the characters that comprise the string followed by the null. The following declaration and initialization create a string consisting of a word hello, right? So here the word is hello. Hold the null character at the end of an array. The size of the character array containing the string is one or more than the number of characters in the word hello, right? Now character greeting 6, right? So greeting 6, suppose we forget about this one, and suppose we are looking for this one, character greeting 6. It shows that greeting is the array of a character having size 6. That means it may hold 6 character. So HELLO, and we put the last character, that is \0. So it shows that hello is a string that may hold by this greeting, right? Variable HELLO. Okay, don't see this one right now, addresses, because we will discuss later on at the time of a pointer, but try to understand this one. It's a greeting is a variable and that may hold 6 character only. Declaration of string. Declaring a string is as simple as declaring a one-dimensional array. Below is a basic syntax for the declaring a string. Character, string, name and size. Integer above syntax. Str name is any name given to the string variable, and size is used to define the length of the string, number of characters strings will store. Need to know that there is an extra terminating character, which is the null character \0, used to indicate termination of a string, which differs strings from normal character array. Okay. Now how we can initialize the string? Then again the same fundamental is applicable like compile time initialization and runtime initialization. So if we initialize the string at the time of compilation, it is known as a at the time of declaration, it is known as a compile time initialization. So here a string can be initialized in a different ways. For example, to declare the string with a name as str and initialize it with good morning, then how can we declare it? So that is yes, character str, no size, that means it may automatically define the size of that, and is equal to good morning. Okay, then character str 50. So now what is the size of string? That is a 50 character. It may hold a 50 character, and we initialized with space good morning space, and after this \0. Then character str, again individual character with single quotation also, that is also possible. So single quotation G, single quotation O, single quotation O, single quotation D, single quotation M, O, R, N, I, N, G, and \0. Explicitly we pass \0 because this is a string, right? Then str12, so again good morning and \0. So this is how we can initialize or compile time initialize the string. Let's see one small piece of code here. I have passed my name, so character str and margin, printf str. So it will just initialize it, and we can use control string %s over here, like we are using control string %d for integer, %c for character, %ld for long integer, %f for float. Same way here we are using %s for string, right? So that is there, and the output is margin. Certain built-in functions available in a string. So whenever we would like to use those functions, we need to include the library file or library header file, that is string.h, right? These are the functions we may use it directly for performing the string manipulation. Suppose the manipulation is copying the string from one string to another string, so we can use the function strcpy, that is copy string s2 into the s1, second to 1, right? Like this may copy it to s1. So basically whatever the data of S1 is there, that will be destroyed and S2 will be copied in S1. Another function that is a strcat, that is concatenate this S2 string S2 onto the end of the string S1. Means at the end of execution of this function, S1 would be S1 is equal to S1 plus S2. So content of S1 and may followed by S2 too. Now this is the function for finding out the length of the string, that is the what is the length of a string S1. So it may return with a digit number, yes, length of the string, that is 6, 10, 12, like that. strcmp, this function may return 3 values. So return 0 if S1 and S2 both are the same. If it's written less than 0, that is a negative number, then if S1 is less than S2, and if it is greater than 0, then S1 greater than S2. Okay. Then another function, that is strchar S1 ch, returns a pointer to the first occurrence of the character ch in the string. Like in a string, we will see the example also. In a string, it will find the particular character and returns the pointer or location, or we can say that index of the pointer variable in the string. str may works the same way, but here it may find the first occurrence of the string S2 instead of a character ch. Here it's a string S2. So it may allows us to search the string inside the string. So let's see the simple small piece of code for the strcpy, that is a S1 S2, and this is a syntax character strcpy. So see, once again, this is for understanding purpose, otherwise it should be character star, but we are not using character star over here. This is for understanding purpose only. Character strcpy, character character str1 and character str2. So we can say that this is the array basically. So this is string 1, character star is over here, but you don't know what is pointer right now. So I can simply say that this is a string and string is not available. So how this will work? So basically it copies the string str2 into the str1, as we already discussed, including the end of the character \0. So has include stdio.h. This is another header file, that is a string.h header file. Integer main character s130 string 1, this is my string 1, s230 string 2. I am gonna copy it into the string s1, this is my string 2. This function has copied s2 to the s1. Then after we will simply call this function strcpy s1 s2. So automatically this will be copied to the s1 with 30. So string s1 is %s, and we print the s1. We found this answer. String s1 is a string s1. This is my string s1 is, and this is the actual content of the string, that is string 2. I am gonna copy it into the s1. Fine. So this is how strcpy function will work. Now we will move towards to the character concatenation of a function. Again, star we may consider over here. It's a star. Okay, character star is there as a part of a syntax. So star is there. It concatenates two string and returns the concatenated string. So again, hello and world, and then after we call this one an output string after concatenation, that is hello world without space. Hello world without space, because space is not there over here. So space is not there in output too, right? It is easy to deal with strcat concatenation. Another one, that is strlen and length. So integer, again this is star. Fine. So it represents the string variable whose length we have to find. It returns the length of the string without including the character terminating character \0. Has include stdio.h, has include string.h, integer main, character str120, the string is Margil Shah, and what is the length of that? then we can say that margil6sheh 10. So length of the string, that is the 10, with the help of this function str len str1. It is so simple. Just it will find or count the number of character present in the string excluding the null character. Null will not be counted. Another, that is comparing strcmp s1 and s2 integer strcmp character string 1 and string 2. It compares the two string and returns an integer value. If both the strings are same, equals, then this function would return 0, otherwise it may return negative or positive value based on the comparison. So if string 1 is less than string 2, or string 1 is the subtracting of string 2, then it would result in a negative value. If string 1 is greater than string 2, then it would return positive value. If both are same, then you would get 0 when you use this function for compare string. Okay, so let's see this one more example. Here we have taken Margil Shah is one string, another string is a Margil Shah.in, and then after we are trying to comparing these two, so strcmp, how this will compare, then m and m, then a and a, right? So what we have done, we simply check that whether both are same or not. So strcmp s1 s2 is equal to 0. Of course it will not equal to 0 because here m is capital, here m is small, so we can say that it will never return to the 0 from the first letter itself, right? And it will print string 1 and string 2 are different. Okay, so another, that is strchr s1 and ch. So it may allows us to find out the character, first character occurrence in the string. Okay, so returns pointed to the first occurrence of the character ch in the string s1 and returns the null if the character ch is not found in the string s1. So hello Margil Shah, and we are interested to find out the m in the string. So of course, yes, don't worry about the star p right now, but just understand this is string for us. So character star p is equal to str chr s1 ch. So it may find m in the string. So a1 0 1 2 3 4 space, and so 5 and 6, right? So ultimately it may find m in the string, and that is on location number 6. So basically whatever the address of m will be stored in a p, and this will be printed directly because we are using p for printing purpose. So Margil Shah is that. Fine. So this is how ch will work. Another, that is a str, the last function of that is again may return pointer, this may also pointer, and this is also pointer, right? So it is similar to the strchr, except that it searches for the string search term instead of the single character, right? So example of the strchr, that is sorry, example of the str, not a chr, this is str. Okay, fine. Again we are working with the same, that is hello and Margil. So it will try to search Margil in the string. So once we find this substring, yes, it may says that it may store the first location of the first letter of the string to the p using str, and that will be printed. Fine. So this is how str will work. Now this is the function, sorry, one small piece of code where we are using multiple functions. So here the first, that is hello string, second is a world string, third is a blank, fourth is a length integer strcpy str3. So what we are doing, we are trying to copy str1 to str3, first step. So after this statement we can say that hello will be stored in str3, and Then after we are trying to print it, yes, hello is there, fine, strcpy. Second, that is strcat, so concatenation of a string 1 and string 2. So what is the value of a string 1? That is hello world without space, so it is there. Okay, and then after length, we are trying to find the length of the string. So what is the length of a str1? That is a 10, right? Because now value of str1 is a hello world, so length is 10. Fine. So other than that, these are the few more functions available in a string. So we are using strlen, that is a simple one. Another, that is strlwr, that is it converts the string into the lowercase. Upr, that is converts the string in uppercase. Cat, that is for one string, append one string at the end of another. Then nConcate, it appends first n character of the string at the end of the another one. So allows us to subscript, we can say that a substring of the string, and that substring may copy to the first one. Then strcpy, that is copying the string. Str and cpy, again first n characters then of one string into the another string. Compare, and again first n characters for n compare. Then strcpi, cmpi, that is it compares two string without regards to the case. That is a lowercase I denotes that these functions ignore the case, right? That is why I is over here, because normally by default what it will do, it may consider that whether there is a small m or capital M, it may consider that. Now in this case it will not consider it. So small m or capital M, both are m basically. Then stricmp, it compares first n characters of a string. It's not a case sensitive again, but first n characters, so n is still there. Now strdup, that is used for duplicating a string. strchr find out the first occurrence of the given character in the string. strrchr finds the last occurrence of the given character in a string. strstr, that is find the occurrence of the given string in another string. strset, that is set all the character of the string to the given character. Set all character of the string to given character. Then strncet, set the first n characters to the string to the given character. Then strrev, that is reverse the string. So these are the functions available in a C language, and this is end of this chapter, right?